And then it doesn't matter how many women you approach. You could approach 0 or you could approach 1,000. They could all like you, they could all reject you. It doesn't matter. All right, so I'm putting my phone down right away because I don't want to script this video at all. I don't want to think too much. Ignore the pile of stuff on my couch. I don't want to think too much about this. I just want to say what I have to say. Because I was in my car on the way home from the gym. I was just at the gym, right? I walk in there, I'm doing my workout, and sometimes I'm very closed off in the gym. I'm doing my own thing because I don't have a training partner. I just go in and I superset everything. I superset biceps with triceps, chest with back, and I do legs, and I'll rest between sets there, but sometimes I'll superset leg extensions with leg curls, etc. So basically, I'm never resting. I'm just like on the move constantly from machine to machine or to bar to dumbbell, whatever. And I see this guy at the dumbbell rack, and I pull this bench over and I do like a set of curls in front of the bench and then a set of tricep extensions on the bench. And this guy just grabs a pair of dumbbells and stands like very close to the bench and does like a set of like kind of bent over dumbbell rows or something with 2 hands. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And I just moved my bench over a little bit, don't say anything to him. And every once in a while you catch people, or you'll hear people saying, oh, excuse me, oh, but you still on this? Or, oh, excuse me, man, go ahead. Like, people will actually talk to each other, but it's the minority that does that. The majority of people in the gym, and I feel like in public in general, ever since 2020, like it wasn't always like this. Ever since 2020, there's been like this fear of looking at people and saying things to people. Like, you know, this look, like you're making eye contact with somebody, you're walking up to them, you're about to say, oh, excuse me, or hey, how you doing today? Something. Like you're walking into a store, you're walking into a building, you're in the gym, and you're about to give somebody at least a nod of recognition. And they just like, they kind of make eye contact with you, and then they're like, you know, I'm kind of guilty of it too. Like I'll just not, I don't know, if somebody like goes, hey, how you doing? Like I'll say it back to them, but sometimes I catch myself just kind of like, you know, I'm busy. Like I said, I'm busy in the gym, so I don't, if I make eye contact with somebody, sometimes I'll just look down at the machine I'm using or whatever. And, but anyway, the thing with this kid really weirded me out because, and I say kid, he was in his maybe early 20s, not too much younger than me. I just turned 30 not too long ago, but anyway, so he's like kind of the next generation. And I was thinking on the way home, I was thinking about what I was going to say in this video. And I wanted to say, I swear it wasn't like this years ago. The thing that really weirded me out was after I had a weird little interaction with him where we didn't say anything to each other, didn't make eye contact, but we both noticed we were in each other's space. Some other guy went to put dumbbells on the rack, and the kid was doing rows again, like right in front of the dumbbell rack. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he needs to work out at home for a little while. I worked out at home for years before I joined a gym during my teenage years. I was lucky enough to have basement equipment, barbells, dumbbells, etc., and a bench, pull-down apparatus actually that my dad made in the house. It's full setup, home gym. It was enough. But this young guy, like this other guy tried to put his dumbbells on the rack, and like he kind of like had to go in front of the guy, and he like kind of moved out of the way, and neither of them said anything to each other. Like not even like, oh, excuse me, or sorry, man, don't mean to be in your way. Is it like, are people afraid to look at each other and to say things to each other? Are we all shy now? Are we all on edge? I was very shy growing up. I don't consider myself shy now. Maybe quiet a lot of the time, but I don't consider myself shy because if you want me to go say hi to somebody, I'll say hi to somebody. Or if I want to go say hi to somebody, I will. I have no apprehension about that or no hesitation about that. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I was so shy. I started approaching people on my college campus when I was in college from 2012 to 2017. And I even became a dating coach. Me and my friend ran a dating coach business from 2021 to 2022, beginning of 23. And I pivoted, I shifted professions because my heart really wasn't in that anymore. But yeah, and now it's weird going out in public. I swear there's a difference. There's like a difference in how people act. I think 2020 really messed people up. I say that, and there are still a lot of people who are outgoing, and I get that, and I want to be more positive about that and just notice the people that are outgoing and not get too cynical. But for a while recently, I was thinking, is it me? Like, did people used to react to me differently when I was younger? Like, is it just my perception? But I swear it's not. People do act different. When COVID happened, when 2020 happened, I was working in the hospital. I was on the front lines because I was an athletic trainer, and they put me in the hospital to do screening with people who walked in the door. And I saw people walking in the door all paranoid. Do I have the virus? Do I have it? I don't know. And a bunch of unnecessary ER visits for people who had like colds and sinus stuff. But the news was making them all paranoid. So after a while, like, I was just like everybody else. For the first 2 weeks, I was like, okay, let's lock down, let's do this. And then a month passed, and then 2 months passed, and then 7 months passed, and I was like, what are we doing? Why, like, is this really a long-term fix? And then you have people arguing like, oh, if only we could stop the curve, it's the people that aren't wearing the masks that are the problem, because the curve isn't. And I'm like, but still though, I mean, is this, like, if this virus is among us, is this like really a long-term solution just to be locked down forever? What the heck are we doing? Our immune systems need to adjust. We need to become healthy. Part of being healthy is going outside. Anyway, don't want to get into that rant. I just wanted to say that I think there is a strong need for somebody stepping up and for bringing back eye contact and not being afraid to talk to people, or being afraid and doing it anyway, and just socializing with people. Because I see a lot of bitter people, especially in like the relationship dating world, where a lot of young men, I talked about this in a previous video on this channel, where young men are giving up and they're just saying, I don't want to date anymore. And my whole attitude, when I didn't want to supplicate to women anymore, when I didn't want to like bend over backwards for, like, when I didn't want to be walked all over anymore, my thing was, I'm still going to approach them, I'm still going to talk to them, but I'm going to have some standards. I'm still going to shoot my shot. At the end of the day, if nobody likes me, cool, I'll get up tomorrow and I'll be the same person, actually with a little bit more experience, because I'll have talked to new people. That was my whole attitude. But now it's like, I see young men making excuses for not talking to the opposite sex when they previously wanted to, but now apparently they don't. I think it's a lot of cope, because I think that what's happening is sort of the same thing that happened to me in my early 20s, but in a different way, where I would make excuses for not approaching that girl. And it would be because, I don't know, but it was like my fear. And I don't think they want to admit that they're afraid to do it, because when you have low self-esteem and a big ego, your ego doesn't want to get hurt. So if you were to walk up to somebody and approach them and get rejected, your ego would get really hurt. And a lot of these young men, I think, would respond like angrily, and they would think that what that woman thinks of them says something about themselves. And then of course they would deny it. Of course, if you're watching this and you're Gen Z and you're like, no, I can approach women, I just don't want to, they all suck. If you did approach a woman, I guarantee you, if you're in that bitter mindset, you would be really offended by it. Your ego would be offended by it. Because whether you approach somebody or not and talk to them, at the end of the day, if you care more about yourself and your own life, and you have high self-esteem, it doesn't even matter if you approach that new person or not. It doesn't matter if she says yes or no to your approach, and if she wants to keep talking to you or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're just you. But I see this angry response where they're just like, no, like, I don't even want to talk to women anymore. Like, part of that is like the correct mindset, where you don't want to, obviously you don't want to change your entire life for somebody. You don't want to give them too much, but if your cure to not wanting to get hurt or not not wanting to deal with bitches, or the modern women that you don't like, is to just not ever talk to women ever. I think you're trying a different solution to solve the same problem of you want validation from somebody else and they're not going to give it to you, so you're not even going to bother talking to them. Like, do you see how that sounds kind of bitter, rather than I'm going to go say what I want to say to them, like, hi, what's up? I thought you were attractive, I wanted to meet you. And whether they laugh at me or whether they reject me or whether they tell me to go away or whether they like me, all of that has no bearing on what I think of myself, because I'm tying who I am and my confidence to my actions. And I'm the man who's not afraid to just go up and talk to somebody. And I'm the man who's not afraid to be myself. At the end of the day, I'm going to be myself, whether somebody likes me or not. You can't get attached to them liking you. You can't get attached to them hating you. But if you're just backing off and not talking to them at all, that's serious cope. Because I know you want to. If you're like a 22-year-old guy and you see an attractive woman, you're not going to convince me that you don't want to go talk to her. Like, if, in your head, like, you've created this response where you're like, no, fuck her, she's just like everybody else, she's just like the other women. And you might, like, I'm not even saying you're wrong. Like, a lot of women do suck, but guess what? A lot of people kind of suck. And you're going to have to meet person after person after person after person after person before you meet somebody that you like. And that applies to friends, that applies to romantic partners. It applies to everything. The guy who can talk to 1,000 people and not click with 1,000 of them, but the 1,001th, the 1,001st person he clicks with, and then like has a partner now, he is better off than the guy who talks to a couple people, decides that everybody sucks, and then just doesn't try anymore. The guy who talked to 1,000 people has higher self-esteem, because it doesn't matter if somebody likes him or doesn't like him. He's content with himself, and he'll just take the actions of a confident person. I don't know, I can't stress this enough. What other people think, or like whether somebody likes you or not, has no bearing on who you are as a person. Like, these new people you're meeting don't even know you. I think you should really care about what people really close to you think of you. Like, if you're very close with your parents, you should have a little bit of pride about what they think of you, or your brother, your sister, or your best friend. So anyway, I kind of went on a rant in this video about like the next generation and what kind of mindset that they should have instead of this like just turning their back, like MGTOW, men going their own way thing. Which, I want to touch on that really quick. That mindset, I feel like a lot of people are just turning their back completely on meeting new people altogether, again, as a coping mechanism for not getting hurt because they're scared. Whereas I kind of like the whole going your own way attitude, if you mean like you're changing your priorities to your passions in life and the way that you want to live your life. Like, how good in shape do you want to be? How leveled up do you want your health to be? How healthy do you want to be as a person? What do you want your environment to look like? How much do you want to pay for rent? What kind of place do you want to have? What kind of man do you want to be? Like, if you place priority on those things, do you want to wake up and do something that you love every day? And do you want to work towards that? Are you taking actions to work towards that? If you're changing your priorities to that, and then do you see how when you change your priorities to that, that's your anchor? And then it doesn't matter how many women you approach. You could approach 0 or you could approach 1,000, and they could all like you, they could all reject you. It doesn't matter. Like, that's kind of what I think people are looking for when they go like MGTOW, like men going their own way. They're just going overboard with it and turning their back completely on human interaction, rather than going your own way, as in like changing your priorities from trying to get validation from women. And if they don't give me validation, I'm never going to talk to them again. Like, avoiding pain at all costs. If you change your priority from trying to get attention from, or trying to get validation from women, or just, being the one to turn the tables on them, whatever. If you change your priorities from that to, being the type of man that you want to be and taking the actions towards that every day as your anchor, you'll be a lot better off, and you can just do whatever you want, and you can date, you can not date, you can have a girlfriend, you can not have a girlfriend. You're happy with yourself. That's called being independent. So anyway, back to the original thought of this video. Are you going to be the person to start bringing back, do you agree with me, first of all? Is something different, is something odd about today in the way that people socialize? Or is it just my perspective? Am I just whack right now? Do I just need to wake up? And so that's one. And two, do you want to be one of the people who, goes back in the real world and starts going outside again and isn't locked in your phone and isn't locked in your own head all the time, and is instead open and outside and not afraid of anything? And it has courage, is brave, is a brave person who's just in the world, existing, and you're doing your best out there. All right, thank you for watching. If you want to overcome social anxiety, I've overcome social anxiety. I can tell you how to do it. You can check out my other videos. The way to contact me, I'll put it in the description. My email, that email is the only way to contact me. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video. Thank you for watching. Peace.